Okay, so coming to the further concepts, let's begin with the JavaScript events. Okay, so first we shall go through with the all the theoretical concepts here, and let's then let next we'll go through the few examples for the JavaScript events. So what is JavaScript event? Is it is nothing but based upon the user interaction, how best you can handle the changes in the HTML part. Okay, so there are the two kinds of the interactions that you can say. When you say it as an event, something needs to be triggered to that event to be executed, right? So there are the two kinds of the interactions that might happen. One is with the user interaction and other one is with the browser interaction itself. Okay, so for that, we'll directly go through the few approaches here. So the few approaches are the inline approach and the listener approach here. Okay, so let's see how it has been started earlier and how now the JavaScript is going to give you the platform for getting into the user interaction here. Okay, so the first one which has been started earlier is with the inline event handler approach, in which you are directly writing the JavaScript as a part of the element itself, right? So as in this example, you can see here within the division element itself, you have stated this statement as if this division part has been clicked, it has to give the pop-up message as a hello over there. Okay, so if you use it so in this way, it is said to be as the inline event handler approach, and which is the most difficult one in order to maintain the HTML pages. Why? Because suppose if you have an entire website coding and if you have adopted the inline event handler approach, in which where you need to define all the JavaScript part of the code within the element itself. Okay, so imagine if you have the thousands or the lakhs of the lines of the HTML part of the code, in which every element you have defined the JavaScript coding over there. So in that case, once if you sit modifying or whenever you want to change it down the time, so at that time it will be quite difficult for you for the maintenance over there. So this is not at all recommended for the programming part. So just in case, it has been introduced to tell you that even you can write the JavaScript as a part of the element itself, which is said to be as the event handler, inline event handler approach here. Okay, so coming to the next one is the this part which is said as the old style of registering a listener here. Okay, so this has been just introduced here to tell you the what was the next version that has been introduced to define the JavaScript over there, right? So if you try these two statements to be executed, probably you will not be able to see the execution over there. Why? Because the browsers currently that is being used by you is not going to support this part of the coding of the JavaScript. Okay, so how it has been done here? So the one thing is the same how we did it for getting the particular element from the HTML by using the get element by ID example. Okay, so with a particular ID, and once you are able to access any particular element from the HTML, and based on that variable, you are just going to pass the event. That is on what kind of event you need to execute this, or you need to perform some action over there. So here in this example, do understand what is the event here. The event is on click, which tells that if the user is going to click something, it has to give this pop-up message. Okay, so this is the event, and based upon this event, this action needs to be performed here. Okay, so this is how it has been used apart from the inline. And probably if you experiment with this, you'll not be able to see the output. Okay, and I'm not sure which all the browsers is going to support this part of the coding. Okay, so the next one which we use nowadays is the function known as the add event listener, so which is termed as the DOM2 approach to the registering the listeners here. So with this example, what you can observe one thing over here is, so this action in this event is only for clicking here. So whatever you have defined as a part of the click, you have considered the only one event to be considered for giving the pop-up message. So what if you want to code for the more number of the events simultaneously over there? So at that time, you need to go for using the method known as the add event listener, which needs to be used exactly in this same way here, as E being the capital and L being the capital here, and make sure that you do not leave any space over here. Okay, so this add event listener method is going to support you for considering the more number of the events, and you can specify the what action you need to perform. See, here in all these examples, the action is being considered as only alert. It doesn't, that doesn't mean that you need to write only the, or you need to use the only the alert method here in order to perform some action. So as a part of the action, you might take the any action that you want to take. So depending upon the requirement or depending upon the what you want to perform based upon these events, you can write it in your coding using the logic over there. Okay, so in this example, just for the simplicity, to demonstrate you that how does it is going to work, the alert has been used here. Okay, so how it has been done, again by using the get element by id. See, get element by id is the most frequently method that is being used to get access to the particular element from the html with the help of the id that you have to specify even within the element of the html over there. Okay, so this is going to get you to the specific element and which is going to be referred with this variable name over there. Okay, so with this variable name, you can see here we have applied the add event listener method, and which event this method is going to take the two parameters here. So the first parameter being the on which event you want to perform, and second being the what action. So this can be directly the display statement or the alert method, or else this as a second parameter you can directly take the function which you might have written the body in the other part to tell what action needs to be performed over there. Not necessarily to be only alert. You can directly take as the function name to tell that what you need to perform based upon this event over there. That means once you click, it has to display or give the pop-up message to good morning. And the another event that you have added to this element itself is once you move out the cursor. So move out is an event which tells that when you move out the cursor, it has to give you another pop-up message saying it as a goodbye. Okay. So these two events might not be supported by the Internet Explorer 8th version. Okay, so I'm not sure which version is being used by now. So probably even at this time you might get it. But at the time when this book was published, at the time the Internet Explorer 8 version didn't supported these two methods. Instead, alternate one is you need to use the add attach event as a method over here. Okay. So coming to the next part, as I told you that not only these alert methods, you can also use the function that you want to get executed based upon the particular event there. So how to do that? As I told, you need to write the body of the function prior you use it. So how to define the function? Already we have discussed it earlier only. So using the function keyword followed by the name of the function, and as a being body, you can write the anything that you want to do here. So in this example, data has been the object of the date method has been created with the help of which you are going to display the current date saying that you clicked on this date. So whenever you click something, or probably this has been written for the click event. So when you click on any element, it has to give the message of the current date over there. So let's see how we have done it here. So again, you need to access the element for which you want to perform this action. That is on which element or on the which part of the HTML part this action needs to be performed there. And you need to specify with the ID over here. And once you are able to access that element, and based on, for that element, you need to specify on which event you want to perform this function to be executed. So here the event being considered is on click. So if it is clicked, it has to execute this function. So instead of taking anything to be displayed, you want to execute this function whenever the user is going to click on this particular element here. Okay. So click it, and this part of the function is going to be executed here. Okay, so this is the another way how you can use it using the add event listener method. Okay, so this is how you can use it. Element dot add event listener. As I told you, the first parameter needs to be the event here. So here you are taking the event name as a click. Instead of on click, it is only the click here, followed by the comma and followed by the name of the function which you want to execute here. Okay. So these are the different types of the approaches here. So whatever I have discussed here, so these are the different types of the approaches that you might adopt while executing. Okay. So one more thing I just want to clarify you here is whenever you are experimenting with these events, whenever you are trying it out on this, so make sure that whether if you are not able, even though if your programming part is correct and if you are not able to reflect the whatever you expect on that web page, so in that case probably the one of the possibility might be the your browser, what you are the browser which you are using to run that web page might not support the some of the features over there. Okay, So just make sure that the you correctly use the whatever the current version of the event handler is available for that. Okay. So I don't know in which year this book was published. So whatever the slides that I am demonstrating now here in this the content whatever I am demonstrating here in this slides here. So that is the content which has been just copied from your textbook. Okay. So I don't know in which year this book was published. So we cannot say that the whatever the web pages or the JavaScript events or even the CSS properties, whatever we are studying from this book. So there will be always the revised version of all these things. There may be a case that still only these kind of the content will be used, or there might be even the revision also. Okay, so in that case always try to get the latest versions of the all these properties so that you can correctly use it in your coding part. Okay, so how to do that? You can always visit the W3 Consortium website to get to know the latest versions of the all these elements or the all these events, or even with the CSS properties always to get to know that the whether the still only these names are being used or there is any revision upon these elements over there. Okay, so for that I recommend you to go through that whenever you try it on to when you want to try it on your programming part. Okay, so the rest of the thing as far it is concerned with the exam point of view, so you should be able to remember these things exactly the way how it has been given in your book. Okay. So what kind of question will be asked you for this particular concept is explain the different approaches of the event handling. Okay, so make sure that the kind of the question that you get for this concept is explain the different approaches for the event handling. In that case, you need to explain the inline event handling and the listener approach with the add event listener method, and one more is with the function here. So the add event listener without the function and add event listener with the function. So you should be able to explain these three possibilities if it has been asked like explain the different approaches used for the event handling. Okay. So coming to the further concept, what are the different events that you can consider? So events are nothing but so how you are able to interact with the web pages. The possible ways that you can interact with the web pages is through the mouse, through the keyboard, and from the web pages probably you are most interested to interact through the forms and the frames. Okay, so you are not interested with the static element over there, right? So however they might have written with some part of the code, even it is going to be reflected when you do something or copying with the some static content from the web pages, that is secondary part. But most of the users are or the most of these events is going to be handled when you handle it with the form or the frame events. Okay, so for that, you can define the events with the mouse interaction as well as you can define the events even with the keyboard interaction also. Okay. So before we get into the examples, let's see what are the different mouse events and the form events that you can use it with the coding part over there. Okay, so these are the table given over here is the list of the events that is being supported for the mouse interaction here. Okay, so what you will do with the mouse when you operate the mouse on the any web pages, the kind of the usage of the mouse is clicking, the double clicking. You can scroll down the mouse, you can move up the mouse pointer, you can move down the mouse pointer, and you can move the mouse pointer from one location to the other location, which can be considered as the on mouse over and on mouse out, that is moving the mouse cursor on the one position and getting that same cursor out of that position and just moving the mouse randomly on the some locations over there. Okay, so I think you are very much familiar with these events. So what you need to do is based upon this each event, you should write the particular actions to be taken. For example, if the user is going to click on the some part of the web page, so what action needs to be performed? If you wish that on particular location of the web page or on even on the form or anywhere on the web page, if the user is going to click that part, you want to perform or you want the some action needs to be performed by that web page. So on that you can consider the event as a on click over there. And if you want to write the actions to be performed based on the double click of the mouse on the some part of the web page, at that time you need to consider the event name as the on db. You can see here on dbl click. So this is on double click. So you can one thing you can observe over here is all the events are in the lowercase letters. Okay, so make sure that you use them exactly in this way itself. Okay, So on DBL click is nothing but for the on double click here. Okay. So on mouse down is if you press the mouse button downwards or if you scroll it down. So at that time, what action needs to be performed? So similarly, on mouse up is sorry. So on mouse down is the mouse was pressed down over an element. Okay, so it is just that whenever at the particular position, if you click and press it down, so at that time action needs to be performed. And for the event on mouse up, the mouse was released over an element. So once if you have clicked and if you are going to release, and what action needs to be performed over there. Okay, the on mouse over event is for the mouse moved over an particular element. If you are trying to move the cursor in this way, if we are placing it on some location, that is said to be as the on mouse over. And if you want to perform some action to be performed, if you move the cursor on specific content, at that time you can write the action for this event over there. So with contrast to this mouse over, on mouse out is if you move out the cursor from that element, at that time what action you want to perform. Correct. So similarly for the on mouse move, the mouse was moved while over an element. So while in the sense, just randomly if we are trying to move in this way. So if you want to perform any action, if that cursor moves on a specific element over there, at that time you can go for using the on mouse move element here. Okay, so just try to remember these events so that you can effectively use them whenever you are writing the code to make some actions to be performed based upon these events there. Okay, so let's see the examples on these mouse events now. Okay, so these are not the examples which I have written by my own. So I'll tell you that you will get the plenty of the examples from the internet. So I have just copied that to show you that how does it is going to make difference if you use them. Okay, so I have used the embedded style of scripting here. Okay, so in which you can see that within the head section I have used the script element, and within the script element itself I have defined the all the functions that is going to be performed by the mouse over here. Okay, so let's see first with the body section that what all contents that we have taken to trigger these events there. Okay. So as a body section, you can see here the button has been defined here. And see, do not get confused that where you need to use these event names here. See, do remember that all these event names, whatever we have discussed, they have to be used as an attribute within the element where you want to apply that event over there. So for example, you can see here I have created the button over here, and within the button itself I have used the name of the event as a on click, and I'm telling to this that when this on click event needs to be executed and what needs to be executed for this on click event. So here on click is equal to my function 1. Okay, so that means I just want to execute this function when particular click happens over here. Okay, so do not get confused. All these events with specific function that needs to be executed on these events needs to be called within the element itself. Okay. So in that case, the where you need to write the body of the element over there is within the scripting part. Within the scripting part to tell that what needs to be done over there. Okay. And one thing you just observe here, a random paragraph, empty paragraph element has been taken within the body section, which has the ID as a demo. That means if you take it as a empty, it is going to be the blank space. That means it is the entire body. It is going to be considered over there. Okay. So in all these examples, in the few of the examples you can see here, we are trying to access that paragraph over here. Okay. So first here, just get to know what all we have used. Okay, so the another button has been taken with the name as a click me to, and for which I want to execute the my function 2. Okay, so let's see what we have defined in the my function 1 and the my function 2 here, which has been written in the scripting part. Okay, so within the head section. So once that is clicked, once the clicking option is done for one button we have used the only the on click, and another button we have used the event as a on double click. You can see here this is the on click and the on double click. So one more time I'm repeating here, these event needs to be taken within the element, and with the equal to symbol you need to specify the what action to be performed. here we are defining the separate functions to tell what actions to be performed based upon these events. And where we are going to write the body of these functions, we are going to write this body of the functions within the script part, within the head section, if we want to use it as a embedded level of scripting here. Suppose if you want to use it as an external scripting, you can separately write this entire part into the separate file, where you need to save that file with a .gs extension, and here you need to just specify the source of the file within this script element, just to provide a link over there. Okay, so I have taken in this way, which is going to be easy for me to explain for you, to switch from the one section of the code to the another section here. Okay, so we'll see what we have done in these two functions here. So all of you know that how to define the function. You have to define the function with the function keyword, and as a body of the function, you can see here, you need to first access where you want to apply this particular action over there. Okay, so with the help of the document dot get element by id, so I told you where it is going to be applied. It is going to be applied on the this paragraph content over there. So what needs to be done? So clicking is going to be happened on the click function itself, the buttons itself, but action it is going to be performed below this. So what action it is going to perform, we'll see here. By inner, it is going to just access the inner html, in the sense it is going to access the content of that, and for which it is going to set it as a hello world. That means once you are going to click on that button, the hello world is going to be inserted as a content to the which element. It is going to be inserted to the paragraph element, which to the element which has the id as a demo. So where it has the id as a demo, it has to this paragraph element, that means which doesn't have the any content over here. So once you click on this button, so this text hello world is going to be inserted as a content to this paragraph. So this is the action that is being performed for this clicking event over there. Okay, so similarly on the double click also we have considered the same thing. So you can see here on the double click also, once the double click is clicked, double click is done on that button, it has to again access the element, which element, the element which has the id as a demo, and it has to insert this text, the good morning text, as an content to that element. So in that case, once if you click double click on this button, and it if you double click, what action is going to be performed, this function is going to be executed, and as a body of this function, it is going to insert the good morning as a content to this paragraph. So why to this paragraph, you can see here you have accessed that element which has the id as a demo. So which element has the id as a demo is this paragraph. So to this content, this particular text is going to be inserted. Okay, so let's run only these two here. So is this visible? So ignore the rest part, which are the demonstrations of the other events, mouse events here. Okay, so are you able to see these two buttons here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this click me button is for the event of a single click, and click me to is a button for the event double click here. Okay, so I'll just click on this first button here. Okay, so you can see here what is done, what action has been performed. Earlier the hello world was not there, isn't it? So if I refresh, so you'll see that there is no content over here. So what action we have written for clicking this button is we are accessing this part, which is an empty paragraph, and to this we want to insert the content as a hello word if we click on this button. So which is done with a document dot get element by id as a demo, and we just want what action to be performed with a property known as a inner html. We are trying to insert the content as a hello word. So if I click on this, you will get to see that a hello word has been inserted here. Okay, so similarly, what actions to be performed if I click on this button? So if I do a single click on this button, it is not going to perform any action. So what event we have considered for this button? The double clicking event has been considered. So only if I double click on this, you can see here what content has been inserted again to that paragraph. The content is good morning. So this is the one example to show you that what action can be performed. So depending upon the requirement, or depending upon the what you want to do as a programmer for all these actions, you can write the specific code to perform the actions over there. Okay, so is everyone clear with at least these two events, single click and the double click, that is on click and on dbl click? Is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
coming to the further content over here. So what has been written here for the next content? We have taken a paragraph, and you can see here to the same paragraph we have used the two events here: on mouse down and the on mouse up. So, but I'm not sure that whether this is going to be applied here or not. Okay, so we'll see here. Okay, so what has been done on mouse for on mouse down? If you click with down, so it is going to what needs to be done here is you are executing this function by passing the current object with the value as a red, and almost up in the sense if you release the content, if you have clicked it and if you are going to release out, it has to execute the my function 3 function, what by passing the current object along with the another parameter as a green over here. Okay, so let's see as a part of the body of these two functions what we have written here. Okay, so my function 3 it is, right? So here as we are passing the two parameters over here, so for which you can see the two variables has been considered here. So the first one is the current object, the second one is the color. Yeah, the name of the color for the early for the first on mouse down we have passed it as a red, and next time we have passed it as a green here. Okay, so what it is going to do, it is going to set that content color to the specific whenever that particular action is performed. For example, if you are going to press it down, it is going to make that content to appear as a red, and if you are going to release it down, release that content at that time the content is going to be changed to the green color. But we'll see whether it is going to be applied or not. I don't know, I'm not sure, because one when I executed I didn't observe any difference over there. Okay, okay, it got reflected. Are you able to see it? See, now I have kept the cursor on that content. I am just pressed the cursor. Okay, so I have not at all released the cursor, sorry, button of the mouse here. Okay, so I have pressed the button and I have just keep the pressing it. So that's why, are you able to see the red color of the content over here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so now I'll release the button. So I'm releasing the mouse button. So are you able to see the green color over here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is what is done for the on mouse on on mouse down and the on mouse up. So once you keep a cursor on particular content, and if you click it and keep, and if you just keep that cursor pressed over there, if you keep that cursor pressed over there, it has to perform certain action. And on mouse up in the sense, if you release the cursor over there, at that time what actions to be performed over there. Okay, so coming to the further example is the on mouse over and the on mouse out. This is for when you move the cursor on a particular content, and when you move it out of the particular content here. Okay, so when, so the, do not get confused with these events. As I told you, on mouse down in the sense, keep the mouse clicked on, that is keep the cursor of the mouse clicked on particular content, keep it as it is, and some action is going to be performed for this event. And if you release that mouse button, this action is going to be performed. So these two events, that is on mouse over and on mouse out, these two events are with respect to the when you move the cursor on a particular content and then you move out of the that particular content, what needs to be done here. So for this again, the two functions has been written here as the big image and the normal image. So for this, why we have passed this as a parameter here, by passing the, we want to pass this current image as a parameter to this functions over there. Okay, so for this as you know, image, for the image element you need to pass the source as a attribute which has to specify the which image to be considered, and the rest of the things is the width, height, and the alt over there. Okay, so as a part of these two functions, we'll see what action needs to be taken for the on mouse over and the on mouse out here. Okay, so for the big image is the, for the on mouse over. That means whenever we move the cursor on that image, what it has to do, it has to change its style. Okay, so since it is, we have passed this the current object as a parameter to this function. At that time, the height has to be changed to the 64 pixel, and the width has to be changed to the 64 pixel. So earlier, whenever we have displayed that image as a part of the web page, the height and the width were 32 over here. Okay, that means whenever you move the cursor over that image, it has to change the height and the width to the 64 pixels. So this is the action that needs to be performed for the event on mouse over. So when you move out of that, again it has to reset back to the original position, that is 32 pixel here. So you can see a normal image is the function which has to execute for the event on mouse out. That is moving the cursor out of that image. At that time it has to reset it back to the original size over there. Okay, so we'll see here. Okay, so just observe the image over here. So if I move the cursor on that image, are you able to see the change in the size of that image? Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so this is for the on mouse over. And if I move out the cursor back, or if I move out of that image, so it is going to reset back to its original size, or else the whatever the size that you have specified for the function normal image over there. Okay, so are these events clear to you people? Are these mouse events clear to you people?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So coming to the further events, I think you have the one more class now after this, isn't it? It's a CD class.
Yes, ma'am.
Due to some network issues, I got late to the today's class. Okay, so further concepts will continue in the next class. Otherwise, it will be late for the next class for you people. Okay, so wait for a while. I'll take your attendance.